So again, what allows a man to make that commitment? This is all big story to analyze that one question, but I think it's a very important one. And people may not know, but I also have a book on Mars Venus on a Date. I think it's right there. It's Mars Venus on a Date, where my finger's pointing. In there's a whole chapter on various words to use to communicate your need to have him marry you and give you the ring. And if I can encapsulate it, it's if he's not doing it and you sense it's not going to happen, and generally as men get older, they don't do it because there's no logical reason to do it. When younger, when you have children, there's a logical reason, and this is our culture and so forth. But older, it's like, hey, we love each other as long as we're getting along, why not? That's just weakening to a relationship. Men have to make a commitment. You can't give him that lecture saying you need to make that commitment.
Right.
As you can talk about yourself, which is when we've made this commitment, and I trust you, but I also have insecurities. And I know that if I don't have marriage, I'll start to close up and always be waiting for a younger woman to come along and sweep you off your feet. And that's my immature, irrational fears, but they exist inside of me. We're human beings. We're frail. We're vulnerable. When you see that guy bragging about his Corvette, he's just like a teenager saying, look, I'm still a guy here, it's coming from a place of insecurity. We all have insecurities and doubts and whatever. So we put those forth. And, or we do things to ensure that we're not too vulnerable to other people. And that's appropriate. We wear clothes, but when we can be fully vulnerable with someone, we take off our clothes, so to speak. And that's very natural. And that's very fulfilling because you feel like I can be myself. But to be that vulnerable for a woman, she needs to feel much safer than a man needs to feel. So you don't understand what it's like. It's like when you drive, you notice that I drive in a different way. It's because I have I'm more aware of what can go wrong. And this is what a woman's brain is plagued by. There's no awareness of everything that can go wrong. Men typically have more dangerous accidents and so forth because they don't anticipate what can go wrong. And if everything's fine now, why do we want to change anything? And so it's up to her to communicate to him in a way which is, I know you're not ready to get married. He's given you all the reasons. You're right. I can see the logic of that. And then you say, and from my side, I just know how good I will feel because I have these insecurities that sort of hold me back. And I want to just be able to open up and surrender. And I think it would make our relationship so much better. It's something important to me. But I also understand your side of it. And then let it be. Let it sit. Don't say, so when will you give me the ring? So you don't do that. There's a time to do that. I've done this many, many times. So I want to give you the sense of how to communicate something that's really important to you when from a man's point of view, he doesn't see any logical reason why to do something that could be a risk for him, which is this idea I covered before, which is how devastating divorce can be and so forth, and the rules and the logic and how it affects our children and so forth. And his own insecurities. He's been probably married before too. And he saw the woman he loved become somebody else. What happened to the woman I fell in love with? And he has no clear understanding of how he contributed to that. So he can feel powerless. This is most of the case for women. It happens even more so for women. They have no awareness of how they contributed to the problems in past relationships. That's why your classes and courses are so important. And our website, Mars Venus, is so important. Because if you leave a relationship and don't see how you contributed to it, and not from the point of view you're a bad person, it's just like, I didn't realize this. Like so many women have told me, gosh, if I had known what I read in your book or in your class, I could have done everything differently in that relationship. I just didn't know. And why didn't I know it? Because men and women are different. So giving your partner what's going to work for them is not instinctive. What's instinctive is to give them what works for you. So if what works for a woman, for example, I know if I give a lot of attention to my partner and do nice things for her, she's going to do nice things for me. Done. And that's the golden rule, right? It's just such an instinctive thing, which is if I give you what you need, you'll give me what I need. It's a reaction, a reciprocity. But what a woman needs most is not always what a man needs most. So you're giving him what you would want. For example, often one of the mistakes women make in the dating process. And I do recommend that book up there, Mars, Venus on a Date. It's a good book. I talk about all the mistakes women make to break the bonding process, which would be like, let's say you're going out on a date, you're dating, and you want to create conversation, and you know that if a man is asking lots of questions of you and is interested in you, you'll be more interested in him. That's what mom told you. If you want somebody to be interested in you, be interested in them. So you're just following the wrong advice. If you want a man to be interested in him, reveal yourself more and more, and he'll be interested in you because you are interesting. But asking him questions about him makes him more interested in himself. So,
right. And you know what, John, I had one of these relationships back when I was in my 30s, and this was kind of an on again, off again thing for about a decade. I would have these hours and hours long conversations with this man. And, we shared all kinds of things and had all of these deep conversations. But a lot of it was me asking him questions and really deeply understanding him. And I fell in love with him, but he didn't fall in love with me. He loved talking to me.
Yeah, he feels better about himself. He's got an audience. It's kind of like, it's my profession. I feel good. I get to talk. But it's not like with my partner, to bond with a woman, a man has to penetrate her. He does that in many different ways. He does that, one, by listening to her more and seeing who she is and going, gosh, I want more of that in my life. Another one is he does things for you, and you respond to what he does in a way which is better than anybody else in the past, which is, oh, she's delighted by me. Oh, she likes me. Oh, she enjoys hanging out with me. Oh, she's having a good time around me. And I'm part of that. I'm creating the conditions for that to happen. Then he bonds with you. So he bonds by providing. That's the whole thing. He bonds by going inside. And again, that's what the bonding process of sex is he goes inside of her, not her going inside of him. So there's a real balance there, which is very masculine and feminine, which you want to support as many ways you can. And, we've done other talks about, and this is in the Beyond Mars and Venus book you showed at the beginning, which I just think is one day will be the classic because it takes us beyond the ideas of men are from Mars, women are from Venus, which are all very, very important to understand. But it's so easy in our modern time for women to get lost on their male side and for men to go too far to their female side. Mm-hmm. And we need to learn how our relationship and communication skills can bring a man back to his male side and help a woman come back more to her female side.